So we're going to start today's video with a little bit of a rant, because if you go into the Valorant subreddit and type Cypher, you will just see tons and tons and tons of posts about this is my Cypher buff suggestion, this is this is that, and some of them are jokes like the top one, but, this kind of like jokey post here, Cypher buff idea, where, he gets a smaller hat after throwing it on his hat, funny joke, good joke, but the problem is, this sub is full of just Cypher buff ideas. This is how I would buff Cypher. And look, I agree. Does Cypher need a buff? Do I think Cypher needs a buff? Yeah, sure. It'd be better if his ult was a bit better somehow. It'd be nice if, teammate utility didn't break his trips and whatnot. Yeah, that would all be great. And I think that they should do those things. And so I'm totally in agreement, but I don't need to hear it. And I saw a post about, who's the worst agent in the game. And, Cypher won by a landslide. And I'm like, is that true? I don't quite think that that is true. I feel like people are very misunderstanding of Cypher and the value he can provide. And thankfully, yesterday, C9 White proved that on Ascent against Shopify Rebellion, which we will see right now. And so let's dive into the game. We'll start on round number 2. We're actually SR here have gone for a force buy on this second round on the attacking side after planting the spike, even though they lost the pistol round. And we're going to see the first thing, and this is again, information is very, very good. And Cypher is good at getting information, right? And having information allows you to do stuff like this, where, here, Shopify Rebellion, as you can see, are looking at pressuring the A site, right? It looks like that's where they want to go. But actually, C9 have 4 players there. And the reason is you've got this Cypher trip in mid that hasn't been disturbed yet. You've got this very deep Cypher cam as well that can see that nothing is over towards B main. So they can have 4 people in the right area right here, right? They put up the Sage Wall as well to even stop them. And they trust Mel here to just hold down the site, okay? And this is something like information. There's a reason that Sova was so good for so long, and there's a reason now that Fade's so good, is because information is really good. And, Cypher can provide that. If you know how to use Cypher, it can be very good. And actually, because of this Sage Wall and whatnot, because they don't have great guns to break it, SR actually do make the call after breaking it to come back towards B and towards Mel on the Cypher. But again, Mel is going to be able to play this very, very well, right? They are eventually going to break this trip. The rotates are going to start to come in. Mel gets off the camera, starts to understand the situation, takes up a nice defensive position here, as you will see in just a second, just here, puts down this cage. Obviously doesn't quite know that anyone is in B main, but this cage, will stop them, and still the tripwire is there as well. And with this cage also, allows, Mel to swing even further out, because no one can obviously see her from B main either on this angle over here. And this is the thing, right? I think that Cypher perhaps isn't the easiest agent to play. You need to know a ton of setups. You need to understand how all of your utility is working together, when to be in the cam. We'll talk about that later as well. And so it's not the easiest agent to play. So often you will see, a lot of Cyphers maybe struggling in ranked games because it isn't easy. But if you put in the time, you can play like Mel here is going to in this game, as we'll see, because isolates that angle, gets that kill, continues to live on the site. This is another thing that I don't think people fully understand, that just being alive on the site, for this long at this point, Mel has already done the job, right? Got a kill, stayed alive for ages. This round is now easy for C9, right? And this is the thing, that the Cypher allowed them to quickly rotate across to the other side of the map and be in the right position and stop that kind of initial plan that SR looked like they wanted to go to. And then, Mel was able to play it well enough there to completely hold that site on her own and, figure it out and manage to win the round pretty comfortably for C9 White. And then let's come to the very next round. And again, you can see the trust that C9 White have on this Cypher and on Mel just to hold down this entire side of the map. Because there's 4 of them here towards A, right? And so what they're going to do, they're going to send a dart in here. They're going to Sage Wall this. They're going to put it the one way. They're going to KO knife. They're basically saying there is no way you're coming into A. We want you to go towards Mel because we trust, Mel to hold it down for one. And we trust the fact that we can, retake if we need to as well. And, they had a very good game plan going in. And I think, this is just a Cypher masterclass round, as you're about to see as we run it forward. Because SR are going to go for a pretty fast B split here and kind of, run straight into what C9 want them to do, right? So there goes the recon bolt there. But in they start to come, right? Here's a Cypher kill off that trip. That gets them 1 kill right there just from the Cypher. You're going to see that they get great information as well, that the KO and the Fade are, exactly where they are. You see them right there. And that gets 2 kills as well for Mel just here, as you'll see. And then pops the cage, manages to get that as well. Just unbelievable. This was just a pure Cypher masterclass round, right? Everything went right. They forced them into the Cypher, which got 1 kill. Mel essentially got them 4 kills right there, right? With the trip, This was just a Cypher round, just one right off the bat. And I think that, again, if this can happen at the very highest levels of the game, then Cypher can't be that bad. But now let's come to round number 9. And again, I think that this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Cypher isn't, again, the easiest agent, I think, in the game to play. And so I think a lot of people will struggle with stuff like this. But if you watch here, we're going to just get a fast B hit from SR, right? And Mel, again, is completely alone on this B site. And obviously, is being ulted this time as well. So there isn't really any delay. And so you're going to see it's a fast rotate from C9 as they were, 4 stacked towards A again. And, well, Mel's just going to spray down and actually managed to get 2 kills there. One is on the KO, who I think is going to get rezzed. We're then going to get a great overall. But we're going to end up eventually in a 3v2 here, right? And what I want to show you that's kind of crucial, I think, to this round is they end up in a 5v2. And you're like, oh, this is just completely over. But then actually SR do manage to get 2 kills back just there. So we do end up all of a sudden in a 3v2. And now, crucially, what's going to happen is they're going for this retake. And Mel's going to put up this Cypher cam, right? And this, I think, is one of the important things. So Mel puts up this Cypher cam just here, right? And you think, okay, let's use the Cypher cam. But actually, they decide, okay, they're planting the spike. Let's go fast. And I think that this is one of the crucial things, okay? That knowing when to use your cam or not, right? Mel could go into this cam here, and maybe see, oh, well, there's not really anyone there, there isn't too much going on. But instead, she ditches the cam and just goes, right, we're all going together. I'm going with my team, right? I'm not baiting my team whilst I'm in my cam. I'm going with them and, we're fighting. And I think that this is one of the most important things, for Cyphers to potentially understand is when or when not to use your cam. Because if the rest of your team is going, you should be doing this, where Mel is just actually leading the lines and going with them, right? Instead of using that cam and just, seeing if there's anyone there, they're with the team, they're going in, and this is what you really need. You need that good communication for things like this, and you need to understand when not to use that cam. Now let's come to round number 12. Another really important thing for Cyphers is to understand and manipulate where you are playing and where your setups are. Mel, for the most part, was playing on B, but did every so often come to the A site instead, and C9 kind of flipped what they were doing, where Mel would be pretty isolated here on the A site, and they'd have a big stack towards B instead. And, that creates problems for your opponents. And again, you need to be doing this. You can't just put your Cypher setups in the same place. Yes, Cypher is going to be useless if you just put your Cypher setup the same one every single round. Because your opponents, if they have a brain cell, are going to know where those things are, and they're going to destroy it as soon as they see it the first time. So you have to know that you have to be switching sides. You have to be, manipulating what you're doing from round to round. Do something different every round. You should need a ton of setups if you're going to play Cypher very well. And that is, I know, pretty difficult for a lot of you. But it doesn't mean that Cypher is useless. It just means that you haven't put the time in to make Cypher good, right? So here in this instance, Mel's over towards the A site instead. And, she's got this cam up. She's got the tripwire here on A as well. Even puts a trip for them on B if they are still struggling for whatever reason on B, perhaps feeling, less confidence about their B holds. But you see, in comes this cam, sees them there. You might have just quickly seen as well that allows the Omen to flash. And this is another crucial thing. Information, as I said, really, really good. If you talk to your teammates, they can do stuff like this, right? If you're seeing them where they are, you can tell your teammates that they're there, right? And a good teammate, particularly as you go up the ranks, will see stuff like that and start to, use their own utility off the back of your information. So again, the Cypher is not completely useless, and even that trip that's on here on the A site is going to go off as well. You see just there on the jet, and so, that's going to create even more delay, and all of that time has been brought by the Cypher, right? Because the Cypher saw that they were in there, and the flash came in, right? That delayed them a lot. The tripwire went off, that delayed them even more, and so what that's allowed is it's allowed the KO to get here. The Sage is already over here, right? So we're getting these rotates in already for this site hold, and Mel's going to manage to get one kill just there, use the smoke to her advantage there to kind of, isolate off some angles. The KO manages to get a kill as well, and the site hold is complete, right? We're now in a 3v1. The spike's down deep onto the site. At this point, you should be winning really any round. And C9 will go on to win this round with a nice trade from Bob at the end here. But you see, again, you need to understand a lot to play Cypher, right? It's, as I said, not an easy agent to play, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. And so in conclusion, yes, I do still think that Cypher needs a buff, but to say that Cypher is this completely useless agent, I'm seeing like comparisons of Cypher to like old Yoru or whatever, that is like absurd, right? Cypher is not that bad as an agent. You can definitely find success with Cypher. You just need to put in the time to, understand how the agent works and, get those multiple setups and understand how you should be playing it if you want to make it work. So yes, you do have to put in a bit more legwork, but he is not that useless.